Hi everybody, and a warm welcome back to Maple Leaf Customs in Switzerland. I'm Andrew. On the bench today is a 1:64 scale Hot Wheels 1973 Ford Falcon XB. Designed by Rob Matthes, it debuted in the All-Stars 2010 Hot Wheels premiere. Production continues to this day. The Ford Falcon XB is a sports coupe produced by Ford's Australian division starting in late 1973. The XB Falcon is often considered to be one of Australia's most prominent classic cars and was the flagship vehicle in the Mad Max film series from the late 70s and the 80s. Exactly 949 GT351 Coupe versions rolled off the assembly lines between September and December of 1973, making the XB GT Coupe exceedingly rare. Notice that it's a right-hand drive vehicle, which is a good thing because that makes my job easier. I'm going to do my very best today to convert this Hot Wheels casting into an accurate replica of the iconic Interceptor from the Mad Max films. A couple of years ago, I took on the huge task of building several of the Fury Road vehicles. Just a personal challenge, really. I started with the War Rig. I'm going to leave links here in the video as well as in the description below, so you can find all of those on my channel. If this is your bag, then you can follow along and see what I've done up to this point, with the promise of many more to come. I was actually fond of this metallic fleck green paint job, not so much of the flames, but off it comes as one of the early steps. Follow this link to see what I did with the Mack tow truck. In the first Mad Max film, the main Force Patrol carpool mechanics introduced Max Rockatansky to the car. It's based on this 73 Ford Falcon XB GT Coupe, which they modified to become the Interceptor or Pursuit Special. According to Barry, one of the mechanics, it has a dual overhead cam engine and thanks to the blower makes 600 horsepower at the wheels. It's basically brand spanking new when Max rolls out on patrol with it for the first time. You've got to be a Mad Max geek to follow the history of this car, and I'm not among those ranks, but thankfully there are lots of them out there, all of them single and living in their mom's basements, and they have carefully chronicled every change, every real car part number, and each scratch and dent from all of the films, and importantly the cartoon strips too. Here you'll see my version of the very popular Elvis from the films. As is often the case, I rely on my 3D printer to make up some of the specialized parts, including this nose piece, which is more aerodynamic. And I'm going to start with a little bit of super glue as some tack welding. I'll secure that better from underneath with a combination of super glue and baking soda. Here are some 3D printed exhaust tips. A little bit of Epo putty makes those connection points seamless, but it still takes some sanding to get it just right. There's a roof spoiler on the movie car. Did that with a piece of styrene plate. It's coming together. And side mirrors. Now we're getting into extra small territory with the resin printer. The engine opening in the hood will be filled at the very end with an accurate V8. I've got the rest of my builds from now till the end of the year planned out. Coming next is the 65 Ford Mustang Hoonigan. An Audi racer from the 24 Hour of Le Mans series. Here's a 41 Willys Coupe that I'm going to turn into a post-apocalyptic cop car. The Shelby Cobra is the November 4 Horsemen build, so I hope you'll be back to catch all of those, as well as what's coming in an exciting new year, too. Today's community shout-out goes to J&J Hot Wheels. Josh and Jaden are Big J and Little J, and they are doing some great father and son Hot Wheels adventures. So follow the link in the description and check them out. I'd sure appreciate that if you would. Thank you. The primer blends all of the 3D parts together with the metal casting. Then I'm going black on black, as Max calls his car. Now it's starting to look familiar. I was especially pleased with my Gigahorse project. I think you'll enjoy it too. Time to do a little chrome highlighting on the exhaust tips, as well as an important wheel upgrade. I do away with the original Hot Wheels. They're staggered back to front, as you can see, 12s and 10s. I've put a matched size set of Samed wheels on, but I blacked out the name and the rims just to keep in the theme of the Interceptor. Of course, I endorse Samed Wheels as a sponsor of my channel. There's the online contact information, so you can make an order for your next custom. I'm not nearly finished with the project yet, but I do want to put the car together at this point for the weathering so that it's all done uniformly instead of in separate pieces. I find that to be more convenient and consistent. It's also a time to check out the tire fit and the wheel well clearance. It all looks perfectly good, no need for adjustments, and I'm moving forward. There's the link for the Doofwagon, which was a huge challenge for me, but it came out well. In Mad Max 2, The Road Warrior, Max is still using the V8 Interceptor as his primary vehicle, which also likely serves as his home, making me hope he's got an air freshener in there. The once pristine car is now showing wear and tear. Max has modified it, the back window has been taken out, and large gas tanks and a spare tire are put there. The car gets totaled by really bad guy Humongous's gang, who smashed the windshield in a high-speed pursuit, causing Max to lose control and crash the Interceptor. Probably getting 6 miles to the gallon is the reason he put such large gas tanks in the back. Now he's got a 200-liter capacity. I'll give that junk a little bit of color on top of this black base coat pretty soon. But first, some chassis detail with this German brand Edding pen. It's the same as a Molotow chrome pen. And there's not a lot of detail on the bottom, and it's going to get dirtied up with lots of desert sand, but this is the first step in the weathering process. Remember, things happen in stages. I printed out a couple of pictures from Google Images to help me with my own rusting and dusting. Some of these are movie stills, many of them are just from models or Photoshop renditions. I use my Vallejo Model Air paints, and I'm going to brush on 3 or 4 colors for the rust effect, following the pictures, which are true to the movies. It's just another important stage, and not finished yet, so bear with me. It looks like this with just the paint, but the next stage is breaking out my Tamiya weathering powders. Sand, light sand, and mud. That's about right for the Interceptor. There's not a square inch of clean on this car in any of the movie scenes, so it gets a thorough dusting from front to back and top to bottom with the powders. That's starting to look about right, and I don't want to forget the tires. Look at this, I've got some desert dust. I need one of Petra's makeup brushes to apply that. I'll return it right away. And now it's time for the 3D printed engine, which I got from Thingiverse. In this case, the fan belt was part of the print, so that was easy just to paint black. Instead of the exaggerated engines that we often put on our customs, this one's true to scale. In 2015's Fury Road, we see the Interceptor one more time in the opening scene for exactly 1 minute and 24 seconds before the war boys hit it with a thunder stick and finish it off, capturing Max, who was guaranteed to be in a bad mood for the rest of the film. In the hands of the war boys, the car is rebuilt and weaponized, gets dubbed Razor Cola, and eventually meets its demise between the war rig and the People Eater's limousine in a fiery explosion. I'm pretty well finished here with this final touch. Now let's have a closer look at the last V8. To make it match the movie car, both 3D resin printed and styrene parts were needed, and I got them all to the correct scale and size. Was able to mate them nicely to the casting, and I think it gives a very good effect and an accurate replica of what was portrayed in the films. It's gotta be dusty and dirty as Max kicks up a big cloud out there in the wastelands. It's a nice roller on those new Samed wheels. Here's a reminder of what I started with on the hobby bench about a week earlier. And now, as the most recent addition to my Fury Road Scorched Earth diorama, here's the Mad Max 73 Ford Falcon XB Interceptor. Looking right at home, beside the war rig and getting chased by the Gigahorse, some of my former Fury Road builds. Remember, you can find links for each of those in the description. If you like this video, you'll love the others. I look forward to reading your respectful comments below. Thank you for visiting today, and come on back soon. It's coffee time.